So we should be now live on YouTube for the tNb Gaming Podcast live. Yes, hello everybody. We're back for a second consecutive live episode on a Sunday night on a bank holiday weekend here in the UK. Well, for most of us anyway. I think if you're in Scotland, you had your bank holiday a couple of weeks ago. So tough luck, but we hope you'll stay with us anyway. Welcome one and all. If you are here for the very, very first time, it's the tNb Gaming Podcast where me and a few of my chums sit down, have a chat about the games we've been playing recently, and also a subject of the week as well. Now, we have a special guest lined up. Last episode, we had that UK gamer, Martin, was with us, and it was great to see him in the house. This week, we've got another special guest as well. Alongside that, we've got three of our regular tNb panel. Nice to see one of them back for the first time in quite a few weeks. Sean's not going to be with us tonight, unfortunately, and I'm pretty sure Gonaldinho won't be with us either. So sorry to see those chaps miss out this time, but we will catch them on a very, very soon episode. Owl's here. No, you've got the wrong night owl. There's no PSB here, as you know. And also great to see Sebin as well. Good evening to you, sir, all the way from Canada. Thank you very much indeed for calling in. I forgot to set this out, so I'll have that going at the bottom as well. Kidoki, that's brilliant. Right, so let's bring in the team for this evening. First of all, there's a man who's recently put up the pickups video after having a bit of a sort out of his channel. It's always great to have him on. All the way from Sheffield, it is Pete Fighter 2. Good evening, Pete.
Good evening, Russ.
How are you?
How you doing? I'm not bad. How are you?
Yes, I'm not so bad, thank you. Bit of a rush to get here tonight, but that's the pitfalls when you're doing live broadcasts. Everything else has to fit in around it, and if it doesn't, then everything sort of falls out. So
we made it though, didn't we?
We did. We always do. Flying by the seat of our pants. I think that's very much our catchphrase, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Just winging it.
I had a Terminator T-shirt on tonight as well.
Yeah, Japanese Terminator shirt. Actually, it's all Japanese text at the bottom.
Oh, very good.
Don't know why. No real reason, but. First one out in the wardrobe.
That's it. We've also got Mark, Geordie Slasher Gaming, with us as well this evening. Hi, Mark. We did a Desert Island Games recording early this week for a future episode, so that's good to see him here. Next panelist tonight, man, back for the first time in a few weeks. Haven't spoken for ages. Nice to see him back again. No, he's been very, very busy with other things, but always good to have him in the house. It is, of course, TheRetroBear.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. I wish I was at Pete's disco. It looks pretty awesome there, man.
Yeah, he's got those lights above his head, hasn't he?
Yeah, for a whole pound from Morrison's, that one was.
Whole pound?
Yeah, just like a little light, a little USB light thing, and I just thought, well, that can't be bad for a pound.
Awesome. Living it up.
It's pretty cool.
Very, very good. And we've also got Sean H. Horatio Van Basten with us as well this evening. Nath, have you been up to anything interesting since we last spoke to you?
Probably. I mean, actually, thinking about it, this is the first time everyone's seen the room, I think, this way round, which is back to front of how it was before, but just as untidy at the moment. But it's coming together. Slowly,
that's the main thing, isn't it? It's coming together, and I think it looks great at the moment. I mean, when it's finished, it'll be fantastic, I'm sure.
Yeah,
so.
You're too kind.
Dylan's here as well. Hyper Trigger X. Hi, Dylan. Cy, Ginger Hippie's also with us as well, all the way from Wolverhampton. And Steve, Cooper's World. If anybody missed Steve's latest YouTube star in a Mario Kart last night, Big Game Owl and Gib84, well worth a watch if you have 5 minutes. And Liam as well. Liam, Retro Ram's here as well. Here he is. Nice to see Liam. What on earth is he doing? Let's bring in our next panelist. Oh dear, I'm going to regret this.
I like it on YouTube.
What is he doing?
Oh, I don't know. He's a little bit dark at the moment.
What is that, Ed?
Oh, sorry. I think I've just got a head crab.
Yeah.
They're supposed to go on top, aren't they?
Freeman.
It's to play Half-Life.
I was going to say, how are you? But I think we've got a vague idea.
I prefer Retro Raccoon. He's a little bit less in your face.
I'm starting to feel a bit like, a bit lightheaded for some reason.
Where do you get that
T-shirt anyway, Pete? Is that to do with your console that you've got? Is it?
What's that?
Your T-shirt, is that to do with the console? Is it?
I did wear it on the Terminator video that I did years back, but obviously not up at the minute. But No, I literally just pulled it out of my wardrobe and it was there. Same way I dress myself every morning.
We got a fan here for you, Pete.
Whee!
Good evening, Susie. Thank you for being with us. What's this message here from Dylan? Have you got that copy of Retro Volume 10 you offered up on Swap Shop a while back? How long ago was that, Dylan?
This is not Swap Shop.
Yeah, it's not Swap Shop. You got the wrong night anyway. Do I look like a chef? No. I don't think I have.
Chef in whites, then, haven't you? So that's probably
Well,
what it is.
sort of, but it spells it with that across as opposed to saying the Retro Chef on it. But
We have all got our merch though.
Yeah, I believe, Dylan, it's already gone because I did do a swap with somebody else. I think I swapped all my retro gamers for a lot of Amiga games with retro kits. I think it's gone, mate, I'm afraid. But it was about 6 months ago I offered it up. I can't remember now. It was quite a while back. Anyway, yeah, the reason everybody's here is because we've got a special guest tonight. Oh, yes.
Who's that?
Well, that's the thing. We haven't told anybody. We kept it a big secret. And I had the pleasure to speak to this guy earlier on the week for his Desert Island Games recording, which was actually fantastic. Everybody knows him. He's everywhere. I don't need to say anything else other than welcome to the tNb Gaming Podcast, Mark, otherwise known as Geordie Slasher Gaming.
Hello, guys. Pleasure to be here.
Wow, there we go. We are rolling out the big names to come on here.
Popping my cherry.
Yeah, that's it. How are you?
Doing that.
That's not that kind of video, mate.
Not yet, anyway. With neither viewers, and we'll see. How are you anyway, Mark? You all right?
I'm just getting an earful off the missus about half an hour ago, but apart from that, I'm good. Thanks very much.
Why coming on and talking to your weird friends on YouTube again?
No, well, we're going to Butlins tomorrow, and all weekend she's been pestering us to pack my bag, and she just went up to check to see what I'd packed, and there was a can of Brute, a thing of Old Spice, and the Switch, and that's all I'd packed.
Really?
So that's all you need.
Yeah.
What more could you possibly need?
So she's not too pleased.
It's like Home Alone, isn't it? Make sure you get your talk boy.
Yeah. She said we're not going on holiday in the 1980s.
You're going to Butlins, aren't you? Isn't that going back to the 80s?
Oh, I love Butlins, me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we go every year. Going to Skegness, and I've already seen there's a game shop in Boston, so I'm going to pop in there for the day.
Well, there you go. If anybody is around Skegness this coming week, and you happen to spot Mark, go and say hello to him and see how his holiday's going. Wish him all the best.
I'll be smelling nice.
Who's this Geordie fella? It's not RetroBear, that's for sure. Is he from the same part of the world as you?
No, he's Sunderland.
Oh, sorry, mate. I forgot to. I apologise for offending you greatly doing that. I didn't need to do that. 37 Retros here as well. Yes, it is a live one this week. We are live, unusually, but we thought I had such a good time doing it last week. Last episode, that we thought we'd do another one. So yeah, we are live this week. Right, so let's get cracking. What we always do is go around the table, or the screen as it goes, talking about what we've been playing since we last had the opportunity to talk to you. So we'll start with Pete because he's obviously right next to me. Pete, what have you been playing since we last saw you?
Uncharacteristically, not a lot, actually. Played a really good game on the Xbox Series X through Game Pass called The Medium, but I can't really talk about that too much at the minute because I know Mark's going to be playing it next week when it hits the PS5. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's on topic, actually. It's a horror game. It's really sort of evocative of like the old school Silent Hill games, especially the first two. It's got a lot of the same sort of themes, like dual worlds, just duality in general, a little girl that's been in a house fire and it's awoken things inside her, things like that. It's obviously really, really influenced by the first couple of Silent Hill games, which are a couple of my favourite games ever, so naturally I really enjoyed it. But that's as far as I will go, because I don't want to spoil too much for Mark. I've moved on from that.
He'll be playing Switch next week anyway on his holiday.
Yeah, good point.
Be playing Switch and smelling of Old Spice. That's what he's doing next week.
But yeah, apart from that, I've moved on to replaying Days Gone, which is, I suppose, another horror game if you think about it. Definitely straddles action as well, but yeah, I heard it's really good on the PS5 because I wasn't keen on it when it first came out. I played through it, but it wasn't a good game. Put it that way. It was a good idea, just not a good game. They've since patched it up a bit, made the game better, and on the PS5 version, it's not a true PS5 version, but they've patched it so you can play it at 4K at 60 frames per second. And yeah, it does really add a lot to the game. Really makes it look a lot nicer. It makes it run a lot smoother. And with the sort of quality of gameplay updates over the last couple of years, it's just altogether a better experience, and I'm quite enjoying it. I'm going through it slowly, and I'm trying to miss out bits I know I don't have to do because it's a very long game. But yeah, so far so good. Apart from that, in the Evercade corner, what have I been doing?
yes, with the regular features of the podcast now is Pete's Evercade Corner.
Pete's Evercade Corner.
I can't see it on the screen, so it's like a big disembodied voice singing me a jingle now. I've been playing mostly cannon fodder because I've got the new cartridges come through, and I was a bit cagey about this because it's one of my favourite games from the Amiga back in the day. I used to play hours and hours of it, and obviously it's going to be the Mega Drive port on the Evercade, and I've not even played the Mega Drive port. I played the SNES port and wasn't that keen on it. And the Mega Drive port's going to be sort of similar, but with, obviously worse sound effects and stuff like that. But it actually plays really well with a joypad, and can't fault it. And the other night I was playing, and I accidentally got a few of my guys killed, and the next guy that came in was called Pete. So trying to keep that guy alive. He was actually unintentionally the only survivor of that mission that he debuted on. So he's now technically the highest ranking soldier in the game for me. But I'm going to try and keep him alive throughout the whole game if I can. But yeah, the Evercade version the Mega Drive version on the Evercade of Cannon Fodder, super enjoying it. A lot better than I expected.
Is it as good on the Evercade as it would have been on when you played it on other systems?
Well, I think I've heard a lot of sort of criticisms about the Worms one. Is it with people who can't see it on the tiny little screen because of the little micro sprites. Sorry, but I didn't have an issue with that, and I'm not having an issue with Cannon Fodder. So I suppose it goes down, to the preferences of whoever's playing it. But
it's down to the individual. What you're saying, yeah.
But I'm not having any trouble with it. But I am looking forward to seeing it on the big screen because I just can't be asked. I've got like a micro HDMI cable hooked up to this TV, but I can't be asked to sit and hold a handheld in my hand and look at a TV screen. It just doesn't compute with me in my brain, if you get what I mean. I just find myself looking at the screen even if it's not switched on. So I really don't like playing the Evercade through the TV, but I can't wait for the VS to come to try it out on the screen, see what it looks like, because it also looks really nice on the little screen. But everything does, because the pixels are so tiny. But yeah, apart from that, I can't really remember what else I've been playing. It's been a few weeks since I've been on here, so things have stepped up. But
it's been you weren't on the last one, were you? So it's probably about a month since you last been on. So
yeah.
All right,
so I'll leave it at that. I'll cut it nice and short there.
Nice and short. There we go. Anybody who's been playing any of those new Evercade releases, do put a comment in the chat below if you can expand on any of Pete's experiences that he's had on that. Because Pete is our resident Evercade expert. Pete, would that be all right to call you that?
I'm not an expert on anything, but I own and play an Evercade. That's as far
as it goes. Yeah.
Influencer.
Well,
people call me influencer. Nath called me the Evercade master. Rob called me Mr. Evercade, but I'm none of those things.
I haven't thought of one yet. I'll be working on one though. So when we speak next time, I shall throw one at you. Right, Nath, your turn. It's been a while since you've been on, mate. You've been busy with stuff, but obviously, if you can give us some condensed highlights as to what you've been up to.
Well, I've been trying to think back. Pete's given me a little bit of breathing room so I can actually remember what I've played for the last 2 months. Probably the one I played quite a lot over the last couple of months was Shakedown Hawaii, if anyone has heard of or played that game.
Was that the Wii one?
Incidentally, it was on the Wii. It's on other systems as well, but I think it was the last or one of the last games on the Wii. That and Retro DX, yeah, Retro City Rampage DX. For those who haven't played it, it is Grand Theft Auto with I always say SNES graphics. A really, really good game. It's something that you have little missions. They maybe take about 5 minutes tops each, and there's just loads of them. And it's the case to just like basically take over Hawaii, buy all the buildings, shut down like shops to intimidate customers, so you can buy up all the shops and things like that. And yeah, it's got a really kind of dark humor to it, but there's a lot of fun. I actually finished it as well. It was on sale on the Switch, I think, when I got it, so it was only about £8 or something like that. Some really good sale stuff on the Switch. Keep an eye out. Agalos, I think, was the last one I bought on sale on the Switch, which I had a little blast on the other day. So yeah, if you haven't played Shakedown Hawaii, that's definitely one to have a go at.
So, mate, on that game, did you get addicted to like the capitalism side of it?
Or just buying up everything
and waiting for all your money to come in so you can buy even more?
Yeah,
like because when I completed it, like I carried on playing it because I wanted to make sure that I bought every building on bloody Hawaii. I absolutely loved it.
I got to a point where every day I was making like a couple of million. Yeah. So I'll put multipliers on buildings, and then
it's like everyday life, isn't it, for you?
Yeah, exactly. And then you buy multipliers for like your biggest incomes, and it would just rapidly ramp up the money. And before you know it, you could buy a quarter of the island for nothing, really, and just have money to spare. It got to the point where it's just ridiculous. But yeah, I bought everything up, and I think at the end of the game there's only like one property you have to buy, and that costs 2 million, which I think is supposed to be quite hard to do, but I just that's done. achievement done for that.
Exactly.
So I spent a lot of time.
The first time kind of game I played like that, and oh my goodness, I've played loads since, and it's so addictive.
Yeah, that is a really addictive game. It's really worth like getting on your Switch. So you can take that to Butlins with your mark. As well as that, giving the Switch some more love. Skyward Sword released, was it last month or month before? I can't remember exactly, but I've been playing that quite a lot. I've got much further than I ever did on the Wii one. The Wii controls for it I found really awkward. Because you had to use the Wii remote actually as a sword and just kind of wave it around. You have to point it to the sky, and it just never worked.
Clues in the title, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but you look a bit of a goon sitting on your living room floor. Like,
otherwise, it'd be called sideward or downward or pointing northeasterly. So,
well, you have to slash in different angles, and you had to do the Wii remote to do that, but it was quite awkward. I didn't like the mechanics on the Wii as much, but actually on the Switch, you can do it with the Joy-Cons. I've been doing it with the Pro Controller. It just feels much better.
Don't you have to attack with the right stick though with the Pro Controller?
Yes, you do. So you use the right
to
thumbstick.
Me sounds mental.
It does, and when you first start it, you kind of find yourself taking your like left hand off the left pad just to flick around the right stick. To get your attacks in, because for those who haven't played it, there's situations where you have to slash vertical, horizontal, diagonal to get your enemy, and they kind of line themselves up, and you have to make sure you slash in that or you get attacked back. But actually, it makes it a lot easier, because if you do it with a controller, you don't have the kind of failing that you had with the Wii remote. A lot of the time, it just wouldn't read the direction I would move it in, and then I would just get hit by the enemy. So I'm really enjoying it. Actually, I'm on the last dungeon as of earlier today. So hopefully I'll actually finish this one. So that's my next plan to do. Next,
sorry if you don't mind me interrupting. I was going to say I really enjoyed Skyward Sword on the Wii, but I just don't have any sort of compunction to play it again. I don't know why. 'Cause, I mean, everyone seems to rag on it and say it's like the worst Zelda game, but at the time it was one of my favorites. I just don't feel any need to play it again, especially not to pay out full price for it again. But you're going about slashing around with the sword and stuff, but like with every Wii game, you find out after a while you can just rest the Wii remote on your lap and sort of gently flick it. and it'll do the same thing. Instead of being called Skyward Sword, it should have been called Sword Laid on Your Lap, gently twitching.
Sword wiggling.
Yeah.
Sword wiggling.
Lap wee wiggling.
No,
Like that.
I'm glad you're enjoying it, because I do remember really enjoying it, and I don't think it gets the bad press it deserves. But on the same hand, I can't be asked to play it again.
No, well, I never finished it on the Wii, so I'm actually enjoying it on the Switch, and it just feels better for me. I don't know why I gave it up on the Wii. I'll do that with a lot of Zelda games, actually. I get to a point and then just have to go back and replay them, but I am actually really enjoying this one. As for it compared to others, I don't know. Skyward Sword was never my favourite Zelda. It's a prequel to all the others, for those who don't know. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's not going to be my favourite Zelda. It's certainly not going to be in my top 5, I don't think. But I am enjoying it for what it's worth. There is kind of a time travel element into some of the levels, which is quite good without spoiling too much. But yeah, I am enjoying it, and that'll be one that I definitely finish. Thank goodness. So next on the list, Alex Kidd 3, which is a ROM download. It's never properly released as a fan-made game. There's an Alex Kidd 2, but they also made an Alex Kidd 3, and decided to download it the other day. I've just been playing it. It's so freaking hard. It's harder than the original Alex Kidd, and that's brutal. The only thing I can say about it is it's got save states, which actually makes it a lot easier because you're playing on emulation. But I think I'm a fair way into that. It's really well done. It takes the kind of original controls and runs with it. They've just made the level so much harder. And those ghost things that used to come out of the blocks and kill you, I think they're in pretty much every special block, maybe bar 1 or 2 a level. So there's pretty much no point getting the special blocks.
So that's like a special fan-made one, then, is it?
Yeah. So there's been 2. There's Alex Kidd 2 and there's Alex Kidd 3. Is it called something Nightmare in Miracle World or something like that? It's a strapline or something like that. But yeah, it's a free download. You can get it online. It's everywhere. But a really good game, and definitely one that people should pick up and play if they haven't done already. So yeah, I think that's it. Other than a few shooters, I played Cotton 2 for a bit.
What was that on?
Yeah, sorry?
What was that on, sorry?
Cotton 2 on the Saturn on a backup.
Oh, right, yeah.
For Mark doesn't know what it means.
Yeah, throw that game, the Cotton reboot.
The Cotton reboot one on the Switch?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just kind of put it in just to have a quick blast on the shooter, and I thought, oh, what one do I fancy? I'll play Cotton because I haven't played it enough. But I don't know. I don't know if I'll go in for that. I've got loads of games to play at the moment, and some that I just really want to play. I've had collections of Mana since around Christmas, and I really kind of want to move on to that, or a JRPG, something like that. So after Zelda, I might move on to a game like that when I can get kind of stuck into it for a few hours. Although I still got
really want to go. I really want to get on with. Sorry.
Oh.
I was going to say, Nate, what I recommend is instead of Cotton 2, play Cotton Boomerang. It's sort of like an updated version of it.
That 3D one?
Not 3D, no. It's on the Sega Saturn.
Oh, okay.
It's
No, I
sort
think
of an updated version of it. Just got like a bit. It just plays a lot better.
Mm.
So yeah, just skip 2 and just go straight to Boomerang.
Okay, I'll give that a go. But yeah, I'm loving just the games where I can give them a quick kind of 20-minute blast or something like that and play at the moment. So yeah, all good with that. And that's as many as I can remember, Bear. Sorry.
No, that's all right. That's good, mate. Thank you for that in. I just want to say hi to Joe, Gaming Girl, who's popped in. Thank you, Joe, for popping in tonight. And mentioned that she's been playing Exhumed on the PS1. I think I got it on the Saturn somewhere knocking around. So, but yeah, nice to see you here, Joe. Thanks for calling by. It's great. We have Mark Geordie Slasher Gaming with us. Anybody who's tuned in a bit late, Mark's our special guest this week. We'll be getting to him very shortly. If you're new to the podcast, we're just going through what we've been playing recently, and then after that, we'll get to our topic of the week. And if we have time at the end, like we did last time, we did a live episode 2 weeks ago, to take any questions from anybody who's watching, we will do so. But obviously, it'll be depending on how we get on with time constraints and whatever. But if you do get to a Q&A situation, I will let you know, and we'll be taking questions a bit later on. Eddie, you're up next, mate. What have you been up to since we last saw you?
Well, it's only been a couple of weeks for a change. So
Yes, that's right. Two in a row. We are blessed.
So I've not actually played like a great deal, to be honest. I've kind of got into like a weird situation of like starting a game and then going straight to another game without completing it, which is not, I don't know. I used to have to like complete something before I started something again. So yeah, I'm a bit of a weird limbo at the moment. I'm kind of like, as well, I've still got like, I'm still at work a lot. And I've also started going to the gym. So it's kind of taking up my time, really, more than gaming.
Well, they started selling games at the gym, have they, or something?
No.
or they're running a weekly car boot on a car park.
Well, I say, I mean, well, the thing is, you turn it into a game, don't you? So, like, every day you go, you try and beat your personal best, don't you? So, you get addicted to things that way. If you make like everything into a game, then it kind of keeps you going to it. Or at least that's what I'm like.
Well, I'm more fascinated now what you've been doing at the gym rather than what games you've been playing.
I just go there, just stand there, and hopefully the weight just falls off. But you know, after a whole pack of Battenbergs, when you come back, it kind of like just comes back on again, doesn't it?
Battenberg is the best cake ever. Do you dress as Sonic on the treadmill, Eddie, to make everything a game?
Yeah, definitely. Red shoes, spike my hair up and like dye it blue. So yeah,
listening to Avril Lavigne.
I was gonna say dress as Sonic. Is that just shoes and gloves?
Yeah, and then just
on the treadmill. There you go.
Everything else hang.
Oh dear,
that's why I can only go at like 2:00 in the morning.
I guess we've got to find out what gym it is so we can get evidence, photographic evidence of it.
But yeah, games that I've kind of been playing. I started Doom 64 the other day. That was quite good. Not actually on the N64. It was actually on the PlayStation 4. So yeah, that was quite good. I've never actually played it before. I always got put off. Like as a youth, I used to play Doom on the PC. So I was like, oh, I don't want to play this console crap. But it's actually a completely different game. I didn't realize until like a few years ago that it was actually a different game. And it's pretty good. It's a lot slower though. That's the only thing. It's not as like in your face. There's a lot of like small corridors that you kind of got to like figure your way through instead of going through corridors and just blasting everyone down. So it is a little bit different, but it's still pretty good.
What did you think about taking like the rock soundtrack out, and the more horror tones to it?
I think again, that's what kind of changes it a little bit. It's like it makes it feel a bit slower, probably. I didn't realize. Do you know what? Like, yeah. Now you've said it. I've only just. It's only just twigged. But yeah, I think that makes a big difference. To be honest, you need that like soundtrack to make it like Doom. It feels a bit. Yeah, it's not quite got that soul of Doom. But yeah, another game that I've just started actually, and I'm really enjoying. Funny thing, what Sean said the other day, he was playing Galgun. I've been playing Galgun. What's it called? Galgun Volt Burst.
Oh yes, we talked about it last time, weren't we? Yes.
Yeah, so it's not as perverted as the one that Sean's playing. So it's called Galgun Volt Burst, which is a play on 3 different games. So you've got the Galgun reference, you've got the Gunvolt reference, and somewhere along there is a Mighty Number 9 reference as well. So it's a mixture of all them 3 games, and then turned into an 8-bit Mega Man clone. And it's absolutely amazing. It's, I don't know if it's a sequel or if they've just added the Galgun bit into it of Mighty Gunvolt, which is, again, it's a spin-off of Mighty Number 9. And it's so much better than Mighty Number 9. It's the game that we was all wanting, really.
Yeah, it's a Pikmin.
And it plays like Pikmin. Yeah, it's brilliant. Full on mashup.
Sounds like tNb bingo cards.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. I remember picking Mighty Number 9 up ages ago on the Wii U, and I thought I'd done really well. It's got all the little presentation stuff with it as well. Apparently, that was every single copy, wasn't it, or something? So,
yeah,
bit of a shame, but
it's like I say, it's exactly what we wanted. It's kind of what the fans really wanted, and it doesn't really get talked about that often. I think because mainly it was made as a download supplementary game. It's not like it's its own game. Like I say, it's using 3 different franchises from the Galgun, the Gun Vault, and the Mighty Number 9. You can play as all of them characters, and again, you beat levels, and you get a power from that boss that you've beaten that can use against other bosses to help beat them even easier. Although it's not quite as easy as like Mega Man. Like it's quite a hard game, to be honest. But like I say, I've been really, really enjoying it.
You said it's easy as Mega Man.
It's not as easy as Mega Man, no.
Mega Man's not easy.
I don't know, when you played it a few times, you kind of know like what to pick up to kill what boss and stuff. So once you do that, you just hit them about 5 times and then they're dead. Whereas this, even when you've got like the power that like sort of like is their weakness, it still takes a lot to beat them.
Oh right, I thought you meant in the gameplay. I was like, Mega Man's rocker platforming.
Yeah, well, no, I think this is even harder than Mega Man. But again, I think it's just because it's all new to me. But yeah, definitely recommend everyone go play that. And then the other one is Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne, the remaster.
It's easy for you to say.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I love the SMT games. People tend to know them more as like Persona. So everyone knows a Persona, but no one seems to know about the original games, which are the Shin Megami Tensei games. And for me, they are like the perfect sort of RPG. They are just more like a traditional RPG where you're going around and then you're going into like corridors and like doing a bit of like grinding and stuff like that. And it's with a full-on horror like theme aesthetic, which I love completely. And it's a bit like Pokemon as well, because you have to like collect the monsters to use on your side. You don't have like party members as per se. You do, but you can pick more up along the way, as in like Pokemon. But yeah, if you like grinding, you're gonna love this game because you have to do a lot of it because it's bloody rock hard.
I know some people like the old grinding stuff, and some people don't. That would definitely put me off.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's just me.
But the thing is, like with the SMT games, like a lot of the, like I say, it's kind of got like that Pokemon vibe, and you all know it's got the same enemies on this as it has in Persona, and it's got the same enemies that's in what's that game on the Wii U, the one where it's a Fire Emblem crossover, and you like fighting, and it's kind of a bit again like this because it's a Shin Megami Tensei crossed with Fire Emblem crossed with Japanese singers, like the girly, the idol singers.
I think I know what you mean. Yes.
Yeah, so it's like it's got all the same enemies as that. They all cross over, and it's just love that aesthetic. But again, this game's gonna be about another 80 hours I've got left of this game to play.
Good grief! Time these games take now.
Yeah, I mean, before I would have just like proper blasted it out, doing like 3 hours a day, and then put like 10-15 hours on the weekend each day, and then I would have got it done within like a month and a half. But like now, I don't know, I'm kind of getting distracted by other games.
That's the way it happens, though, isn't it? Yeah.
And the last game that I have been playing, I've not played many games, but I have played them. It's just not for the same kind of time. Gradius 3. Me and Dylan and a couple of others are having a bit of a score attack on that. And Dylan's absolutely thrashing us all. Like, I can only get a third of his score at the moment, and he's done it a few times.
Man, I don't know. I didn't manage to do it. I just couldn't cope with those sort of games. I mean, and I know you're really good at them. So the fact that Dylan's sort of going around thrashing you all at the moment, then it's gives you an idea of how good he is at these sort of games.
No, he's done really well. I keep dying at the same place, which is sort of like you get to a level where you have to like shoot sand away, and then like rocks come down, and it's like I always like hit the roof or something like that really stupidly, and because you power down, you like it's hard to progress there.
Right. Well, thanks, Ed. Just before we quick move on, a couple of people coming to the chat. Rock and Rollers here. Thank you very much for calling in, my friend. I'll see you tonight. Joe loves horror games. She might be interested in our subject of the week then. Right, we to give too much away. Ross is also here as well. There he is. Good to see Rossi in the house tonight as well. And Alan Dillon are having a conversation about Grindr and Eddie's Mega Man work outfits and all sorts. Mark, before I bring you in, he's been sitting very patiently waiting to be added to the stream. Rob's also with us tonight. Hello, Rob.
Oh.
Of course, him off guard.
Hello, Rob.
Hello, mate.
I just turn up when I want.
You've been at work today, haven't you?
I've been at work. I've been out. I've been asleep, and then I woke up and was like, "Oh, blimey! There's a link in the chat. I'm going to see what that's all about." And here I am.
Yep, there we go.
I think all of us have been asleep, haven't we? We've all just woke up for this.
Yeah,
I've been up 1 o'clock this morning. I've been up since.
Yeah,
19 hours then. Yeah.
I thought I'd been say hello because we've got proper actual legend here. Look, haven't we? Look, hello.
Present company accepted, of course, obviously.
Do you want me to point at him? Okay.
Yeah, this one here.
I'm regretting using. Yeah, I'm regretting using the add button. Now I'm going to take him. I'm going to send him back. Mark, as our special guest this week to join in, as we say, we always like to find out what you've been playing recently. So the floor is yours, sir. Please do give us some indication of what's been floating your boat game-wise recently.
Well, when I heard I was coming on, I played a bit of Black Ops the other day because I thought Sean would be here, but he's not. So that one's out the window. So just in the last week, I've beat Greek's Memories of Azure. It's it's a Metroidvania, but what's different is you're not just one guy that upgrades the powers, to then get to the next parts. You start off as a young lad, and then you've got to find your brother and your sister, and they're the ones with the different powers, which you can then use to get the higher platforms or beat certain bosses. Really gorgeous to look at. It's like a hand-drawn cartoon, basically, that you're playing. So you start off in a village, and there's an airship, and you've got to find parts for this airship so you can escape the attacking horde that's coming in to destroy the village. It got a bit frustrating towards the end because it's got a mechanic where you can use all three of them. So by pressing L2, you've got them all together, and if you jump, they all jump at the same time. But when you're doing platforming, trying to get 3 characters that do different kinds of jumps to land on the platforms was a nightmare. So in the end, I was having to do one guy, then go back and do the other one, to get the platforms. But that didn't happen until later on, really. But yeah, it was absolutely brilliant game. I highly recommend it. It's only about £20 at the minute, for Switch and PlayStation and stuff.
That sounds all right, yeah.
Yeah, it was really good, like gorgeous to look at. And so I played that, and because I knew Pete was on and he likes lots of games completed, I quickly smashed out Chip and Dale on the Nintendo last night, which was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I looked at it and went, that'll be a quick game, so I can see I've done another one. And about 3 hours later, before I'd finished doing it after a couple of attempts. But it was still really enjoyable platformer. I put quite a bit of time into Hades at the start of the week. I'd completed it on the Switch, but it just recently came out on the PS5. So I got that so I could get the trophies. It's a roguelike dungeon crawler, that. And with the roguelikes, I'm not really into them. I just like to know what I'm starting the level with. But this, you get different power-ups each time you play through it. So there is a lot of replayability, and it is starting to make me appreciate roguelikes more. And what was the other one I've just done in the last 10 days or so? Curse of the Moon 2, which is basically Castlevania 3.
Is that Bloodstained?
Yeah, Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon 2. I've just completed that in the last 7 days, 10 days, something. Really enjoyed that. Again, I've never played the original Bloodstained, but this is meant to be the better one. You get extra characters like Castlevania 3.
This is the third one, actually.
No, there's 2 8-bit ones, isn't there? And then
there's like the 8-bit one. The first one's the 8-bit one. Then there's like Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, is it? Which is like a full-fledged like modern version, and then there's this one back to 8-bit style, which is great. But
I've done them all. I just meant like this is like the second 8-bit one.
Right.
Curse of the Moon. Yeah, so you can get 4 characters, and obviously each boss is weak to a certain character, so you've got to make them survive. The whole level to get that boss. But that was really good fun. It was quite short. I smashed that out in about 3 hours.
Mike, did you play that on actual physical, or did you get the download?
I played a physical. I opened up the limited run game. And shock horror.
Oh, don't say that. Dylan's in the chat. He'll be having a heart attack at the moment.
I know. I've just lost a sub there when I said it, I think. Yeah, but I've just seen. Actually, I've got the Castlevania collection on limited run games pre-ordered. I do like to open up the physical, but it's £6 at the minute digitally. So I'm in two minds whether to get the digital of the collection because it's so cheap.
Oh, it's a great collection as well because you get to play the Kid Dracula as well, which is the cutesy version of like Castlevania where you play as Dracula.
You're Alucard, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well, I've never played Castlevania 3 either, so I really want to play that one.
What? That's the best one.
I know everyone says.
You have to be a pirate, don't you?
Arr. Sorry.
Have you any more, Mark? Or was that it? Sorry.
Well, I'm doing the 52 game challenge. That Pete and Eddie are doing. So right, I think I've actually passed the 52 games for the year already.
Jesus,
there's quite a bit, but I don't want to go too.
I'm surprised you don't do 52 a month. To be fair,
that's like 7 a month, near enough to the end of August.
Not all of them are long ones. Some of them are short.
Huh?
Sayonara Wild Hearts, that's like only an hour, 2 hours, that one.
I use that to top up my 52 as well.
A couple of years ago, I did Squidlet just for that reason because you can play it in like 40 minutes.
To be fair, what I do as well is you've put Cotton in, I've completed Cotton, the remake, because I only put shooters in if I've 1 credit cleared them. If I have to like repeat use credits, I don't count it. Just because for me, I feel like it's if you just use all your credits, you get blast through it like within like 30 minutes and you've got no challenge. Whereas like I kind of like when you've 1 credit cleared it, you tend to have played it for like 10 hours or something to be able to get that point.
I've included Cotton and I died a lot.
yeah, I have as well. It's flipping rock hard in it.
Well, I'm not good at shooters. Like Pong's a bullet hell to me, I'm terrible at them.
I don't think many people are actually good at shooters. It's just they're just beautiful to watch sometimes. A really well done shooter. Like,
I don't think it's possible to be good at shooters.
Yeah,
they're just horrible games, but they're great fun.
Impossible.
I agree with that.
Garega already.
Oh yeah, that's easy. That one.
I agree with you. I think somebody playing one, the way they look great. They're brilliantly designed. I think somebody playing one really well is actually very interesting to watch. I think I've touched 52 games this year. Does that count? Sort of playing them. That's as close I've got. A couple of people in the chat. Zelda pops in. Hello to you. Thank you for calling in. And our friend from across the ocean. Where's he gone? There he is. Kane Deathbreaker. Thank you for calling in. We're live this week, mate. We usually listen to a recorded chat, but we are actually live this week. But great to see you come in and support the boys as always. Good to hear from you. What an amazing gentleman he is. So if you do get a chance to pop across and see his channel, do so. Rob. We'll come to you next, mate, because we always like to hear what you've been up to in terms of what you've been playing. Rob's Indie Corner. We've had Evercade Corner. It's Indie Corner now.
To be honest, mate, I ain't played an awful lot since I was last on, but then again, it's been a couple of weeks. I have played a couple of indie games. I played a game called Orbibot, which is another Rattle-like special where they make it easy to get the achievements. But this one's actually a real shame because it's actually a really, really good-looking game to look at, and it's basically a Marble Madness game, really, where you're a giant silver ball and you've got to navigate your way through the maze. I actually decided the achievements were done within half an hour, but I decided to give it about an hour because it was actually quite fun, and it's a shame. I wish they'd have made you complete the game to get all the achievements. Apart from that, I've been playing I can't remember if I mentioned this in the last stream, but I've been playing a game called The Art of Rally, which was added to Game Pass.
I think you did.
Yeah, it's not awful. It just goes on forever, which is probably why I'm still playing it. It's basically it's sort of a Micro Machines game in the isometric view with the graphics of Untitled Goose Game, if that makes sense.
Mm.
But it's all right. It's going on forever. It's going on forever, and it's going on forever. I feel like it's going on forever because it don't look a lot different once you've been playing it for a bit. But really, apart from that, I actually have had the OG Xbox on that's been modded with all the stuff on, and been playing some X-Men versus Street Fighter because I love it.
Oh right, what's that on? Arcade? No.
Yeah. It's on the original Xbox on the modded, so yeah, it's an arcade port of the game. So
I don't think I've ever seen that.
What, X-Men versus Street Fighter?
Mm.
I think it was one of the very first crossovers. Yeah, great game, love it. One of my favourites.
Oh, that one definitely passed me by.
But no, that's it, mate. I was going to say I've been playing much.
That's the quickest ever.
Yeah, I was going to say I've been busy. I've been busy at work, working silly hours, shit hours, and there we go. Look, done it already. And
Yeah, oh god.
a little bit. So yeah.
Bear, I've said arse about 6 times.
Have I?
No, I have.
Oh right.
Arse no problem swearing.
Yeah, that's okay. Joe's noticed you've got some Mega Drive games there, which I always think is very important when we do these things visually, that people can see what we've got. But yeah.
Yeah, it's a backdrop to all my videos, isn't it? So there's 3 NES games there, but they might be gone soon. I
always wanted to ask you about the NES games because they're Double Dragon Isolated Warrior and
Terminator 2.
Terminator 2.
Well, ironically, I Isolated Warriors there because I saw it in one of your videos and I really like the look of it, so I bought it and played it, and it's actually a lot of fun. Never played Double Dragon. I bought it and it's still sat there. Now I might be selling it on.
That's where I recognised it from, actually, because I thought I've got that.
Before we move on, can I take advantage of the fact that I know it's Chris's birthday and gets to all say happy birthday to
her? Zelda
Pop.
Yep.
Yeah.
Of course.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
TNB birthday greeting. Invoice will be in the post. We should do that. You know, that thing, is it Cameo? You've seen that where celebrities sort of like send a personal message to somebody for a sum of cash. I'm sure
we'd have to pay them though.
Yeah. Yes, we're not going to get served. We're not going to get much interest in that.
That song.
That's what I said. I was like, why do you want to sing Word Up to random people on their birthday?
I actually know every word to that song.
The guy out of Phoenix Nights doing it, isn't he? You know, the one who goes, I'm thinking of a word. I'm not going to say it. I'm thinking of a word.
No, I'm not ashamed to admit I know every word to that song, and it's not from the Cameo version. It's not even from the Korn version. It's from the Mel B version.
Mel B did a version of Cameo's Word Up.
Yeah, it was on Austin Powers too.
She was the first Spice Girl to get a solo #1, Mel B, with that.
God, that must have been awful.
What's on your Mel B game, Ben?
I'm actually quite shocked you don't know these Spice Girls facts. You disappoint me, Bear.
There's Spice Girls, and then there's the Spice Girls individual careers, 2 completely different things.
In fact, we probably could do. Do you know what? That could be a stream in itself. Geordie Slasher versus Retro Bears.
Why did they put Black Bean there on the cover?
For what? Where's that?
Black Bean.
There's even an arrow pointing at it, just in case you aren't sure what we're getting at.
There's a joke there.
There's a joke there. We've moved swiftly on.
Yeah.
It's a family show, this one. I don't know, possibly. That's the excuse we got for it.
Raccoon Boys will see it right.
The Raccoon Boys. Right, so that's what everybody's been playing this week. And now what we usually do is segue into the next segment, which is a topic of the week. Now, this week's topic of the week we decided earlier on because we got Mark on, and we know it's an area he knows an awful lot about, but also a couple of guys on here do as well. And we decided to talk about games this week that are based around horror, survival horror, general horror. We're not including horrific games because that's a completely different subject. But that sort of genre. And obviously Joe mentioned earlier in the chat about the fact she loves horror games, so hopefully this will be right up her street. Not really something I know an awful lot about, apart from the survival horrors like Resident Evil, Curse Mountain on the Wii. Not my sort of game, I have to be honest. But I know a couple of you guys are reasonably well versed in this. And we're just going to sort of mention games that people have played, people can recommend, people steer clear of. And if we can try and find, an arrangement as to what possibly is the scariest game of all time. I know that might be a bit of an ask, like, notice as of now. But if we get a general consensus where people agree, say, yes, I agree, that's quite a scary game, and we might actually find one between us, I don't know.
It's over.
Hey?
Podcast over. My Horse and Me Too. Scariest game ever.
Scariest game. Scariest game.
She's scary spice, that count.
We've done it.
There's nothing scary about doing some fitness in your own living room as well.
Yeah. Podcast, we're finished. I mean, that was a quick one, that one.
I don't think My Horse, or the price tag maybe for My Horse and Me Too is quite scary.
Not for the Wii.
Right, who wants to go first? Just before we say hello to Stuart, Generation Pixel. Thank you for calling in. Anybody want to kick us off then with this tonight? Mark, would you like to go first, mate? Because you're our special guest.
Yeah.
So, what I'll do is I'll leave it on the six of us for the moment, and then if I need to sort of drop people in and out, I will do so.
So I got thinking about what is a horror game a couple of months ago when I started going for the PlayStation 2 horror subset, and there was loads of different lists online because there's not an official one. So it made me start thinking, what is a horror game? So I did a VR and I put it out to the community, and the answers that came back is what I think we'll probably all agree on tonight is horror is what. Yeah, also Me Too and Mel B. So what came back was what's scary to me might not be to you, and vice versa. We've all got fears different to everybody, So it's really because some people was maybe suggesting a World War II game, even a first-person shooter World War II, like Medal of Honor, going into the psychological horrors of warfare. Is that a horror game? Again, a lot of this is open up for debate. Obviously, you've got your Resident Evils and your Silent Hills, which are classic survival horrors, and you can definitely put them in the bracket. But it's what else then can you put into that bracket? And I think it all comes down to what's scary to you, in your opinion. Because there's games like Casper. It's not a horror game as such, but it's horrible on many levels. I'll give it that.
Whoa.
It's okay on the PS2.
Casper is brilliant on the PS1.
Oh man.
But
anyway,
if you're a child and you're playing Casper, like my daughter the other day, we had Wizard of Oz was on the telly, and she still got scared of the monkeys, and she made us turn it off. No,
everyone gets scared of the monkey. I don't care how old you are, whether you're 6 or 60. They are the scariest things that have been committed to celluloid. I don't care what anybody says.
Exactly.
They're horrible.
And yeah, so that's how I would want to start off with. I think horror is what's scary to you, and I think we'll all have a different opinions. Some might find a serial killer more scary than a vampire. Some might be scared of werewolves, what have you. It's a really hard list to narrow down what makes horror because everyone's different.
I don't even think it has to be particularly scary. It's like I'd class stuff like Castlevania because it's based on gothic horror, and it's not a particularly scary game, but it's like the iconography and everything, and the symbolism is all there. You've got vampires, you've got zombies, ghosts, witches, and all that kind of thing. It's just classic gothic horror, just not presented in a scary way.
But then would you add the likes of Devil May Cry and stuff, because that's got demons? It just expands and expands.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's like I used to back on the PS1. I used to organize, because I was a nerd. I used to organize my memory cards, so like each memory card had a different genre of game on it. And I remember on my horror one, I had stuff like Legacy of Kain on there because it was just centered around vampires. It's not particularly a scary game, but it's got a lot of like the gothic imagery and stuff like that. So it's like, I mean, Dracula is not particularly a scary story, but it's like regarded as one of the finest pieces of horror fiction ever made. It's like, I don't know, it's just, where do you stop, really?
I mean, if I had someone sucking blood from my neck, I would be pretty scared, to be fair.
Not just from your neck. That book goes dark.
Does it?
It does.
I think, and I think it's because you're going to the gym now. It'll be healthier blood that comes out of you rather than the stuff that was in there before.
Well, I'm hoping that Duckula will come along because he likes carrot juice, doesn't he? Count Duckula.
We established early on that Eddie is a vampire.
Yeah, I'm a vegan vampire. Only
When he comes out at night, he doesn't look his age. He's a vampire.
I always say when people look like that, there's always a portrait somewhere in the loft going off. Steve, at the nip out for the last half an hour, can we do a quick recap? No. Anybody want to add anything to what Pete or Mark has said so far?
It's a really interesting point.
Right, go on, Nathan. Go on, Nathan. Sorry, you can say.
No, I was going to say it's a really interesting point with regards to this because, like, Rob's bringing up Soul Reaver there, which is obviously a dark and demonic kind of storyline to do with vampires and demons, but it's not got that jump scare horror. And jump scare horrors are something that I don't really go in for, but I do like the kind of dark storyline that will go with it. So, like, things like that, Devil May Cry, games that are along those lines, I just find more interesting. I'm not someone who just wants to sit down, play a game, and relax, and it's just something will come bursting through a window and shit me up.
Yeah, that probably be Resident Evil. So
yeah, the first Resident Evil when a dog comes through the window, like I think that happened to everyone.
I thought that was cheesy, but there's a bit in Dino Crisis where a T-Rex comes through the window, and it was shepherd's pie in my pants. So.
There's an image.
Resident Evil. I've actually been playing the DS one for the shelf game. I've been playing that, and even though I know the dogs were coming through, I knew exactly where it was, and it's on a little handheld. It still shit me up because it's like you've got to get through that hallway without like dying, and it's like, but the first time you ever play that, it's like, what is going on?
They did that on Code Veronica. There was a bit where you have an office and it's got a massive bay window, and every now and then there's like a lightning strike outside, and you have to put in a key code. You're like, as soon as I get this frigging key code right, someone's going to come smashing through that window, and you know it's coming, and you still crap yourself when it happens.
It's funny what, sorry, go on.
Sorry, I was just going to say, do you think kids today would be scared of Resident Evil 1 like we were? Because if you go back to the Hammer horror films, when we watched them in the 80s after seeing Jason Voorhees and stuff, like it's Hammer horror, it's campy, rubbish. So the kids today, they'll be playing, I don't know, Evil Within or something like that. Then to go back to Resident Evil 1, they're not going to get that fear that we got, or the jumps. What's that?
Yeah, I think
you just got a touch by kaiju.
It's more like a bloody action game, though, isn't it? Really, it's not psychologically scary. Again, with Resident Evil, you only had a certain amount of bullets, and with Evil Within, you've got a lot of bullets. You've got a lot of things happening all of the time. Whereas it is centered around fear and everything like that, and horror and everything. But it's not quite. I don't know. Just limit stripping everything back, where you don't know what's coming around the next corner.
That's why I'm really looking forward to Tortured Souls coming out. I think it's just come out on the PlayStation, but I'm waiting for the Switch one because it looks like it's really sort of going right back to that kind of original original survival horror style. And I'm really looking forward to that game, even though I'll probably not be able to play it in the living room because my wife doesn't like horror stuff.
But I suppose really, as he said, if you've got limited ammunition in a game and it is survival horror, then there's that at the back of your mind. You've got to find some more ammo quickly, and the more you use it up, you have to use it more sparingly. Then that tension increases, and then the horror unfolds of what actually might happen should you run out of ammunition. So
what I was trying to get across was like the graphics, using the horror, like the Hammer horror. It was campy, it was cheesy. Then obviously with Jason Voorhees, loads of kills and you gruesome up close. So Resident Evil for us, it was state of the art graphics, wasn't it? If a kid played that now, would they be as scared of looking at a blocky character? Because for them, it's not real compared to when we were playing it. That's what I was.
Yeah, I can't.
On the modern TV, it's stretched out and it looks like just a mess, really, rather than a 14-inch CRT, which it looks much better on.
With that first Resident Evil, you had, obviously, the loading screens was used, obviously, to cover up the loading screens with the doors, didn't you? But I always found it added to suspense back then as well.
Oh yeah, built tension.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I've never been so scared opening a door in my life.
It was a clever thing to do to cover up a loading screen, but at the same time, it added to it as well. I really loved it.
Yeah.
But there was
Do
the
you
bit as well
remember-
where you tried to go out the front door and that, and you'd expect it starts like you'd expect it, and then all of a sudden the dog's head pokes through. They used it to sort of cool effect like that. It's really cool.
In
Yeah, it's easy as leaving through the front door.
I was going to say, to add to the door thing, in Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, they actually obviously improved upon it, and there was doors you could go through where there was no loading screen, and Nemesis would follow you through the doors. That was creepy as. It was on that one, like, just had this massive monster just following you round, and you think, oh, I've gone through a door now. It wasn't a loading door. It's like, oh, I'm coming through as well. Like, shit. Run to the next loading door, and he'd just disappear for a little while. But yeah, that really was suspenseful in the first few Resident Evils.
Just a couple of comments in the chat. Addy Sneak Freak. Classic question: is Alien a sci-fi or horror movie? The correct answer is both. And I would wholeheartedly agree with that. I don't think
Alien, yeah, Aliens is sci-fi action, and Alien 3 is sci-fi shit. And they've
What's
also
Alien
got
4
worse
then?
since then. Yeah, that's just shit.
It's got the Winona Ryder in it. So.
he's not mincing his words tonight, is he?
I thought everyone else is swearing. Why shouldn't I?
Well, that's true. I should have put a disclaimer out before we started, but anyway. Joe says,
I'm
"I
doing
look."
good tonight. I know
I know you are.
all the time. I'll try my best.
You are setting an example tonight. We'll have you back. Suspend somebody else for a week. Joe said, "I love true horror, true survival horror, and horror games that mess with you. And the scarier, the better." I know we were talking about Eternal Darkness, weren't we, Mark, earlier on this week?
Yeah.
I mean that game. I never played it because I read so much about it at the time. The fact that you felt it, the experience you get was actually messing with your head at the same time.
I never felt that way. I only just started playing it recently, and it was just a good old-fashioned. It was totally a different game than what I was expecting.
Oh right, okay.
It was more more actiony, and it's like because what you do is you're going through like a sort of like a house like in Resident Evil, except every room that you go to like a puzzle, and you get transported off to like a different sort of like era in time. So it kind of like took that suspense out that you'd get in something like Resident Evil. So what did you think of it then, Mark? Did you think it was horror-y, really?
I played it when it first came out, so maybe I'm looking at it, from a different way, because you might have heard this happen, like where the telly goes off and stuff. You've probably heard all that, but I hadn't. So for me, it was probably a different experience to what you got, playing it at the time. But I did find it like very psychologically scary because, I didn't know the TV was going to start shaking, turning itself off and stuff. Yeah. You probably heard rumors about that, so it might have took away some of it for you.
Exactly. I kind of was expecting, although I went into it thinking it was going to be like a Resident Evil style game, and it totally isn't, is it?
No, it's not. No.
Stuart Generation Pixel says, if in a game your first instinct is to run and hide, it's a horror game. I wouldn't argue with that.
I get that. But going back to Alien again, has anyone played Alien Isolation on the PS4?
No, I won't.
Well, funny you should mention that, because 37 Retro mentioned there's Alien Isolation. I've seen that being played, and that's put me off even thinking about getting it. Because I saw it, I was like, I'm not playing that at all, ever. No.
It might have been patched to be better than when I first played it, when I first got it on release day, but at first it was really tense and scary and stuff, and running and hiding whenever the alien turned up, and that it was really fun and scary. After about 45 minutes, sitting in a locker for 20 minutes watching an alien walk around in circles is just tedious and boring. It's just, I ended up trading it in, and I never do that.
It must depend on Rob to have the game handy. Lifeboat evacuation. That's a bit dangerous on a spaceship, isn't it?
Well, I took it out because I thought the steelbook would be different, but it's not really.
In
fact, if I put that there, you'd be like, "What the hell's that?"
Yeah, I thought you were just collecting signs now. The boat's somewhere missing a very important sign for that, but yeah.
I've always wanted to play, but I always get put off because I hate stealth games. I'm just terrible at them. I know Joe, Gaming Girly, she mentioned, what did she mention? Haunting Grounds. Now, I wanted to like that game. However, like, you have to do a lot of hiding. Like she says, you don't have any weapons. And it got to a point where my dog wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. And it just frustrated me. So I enjoyed it to a point, and then I was like, I've had enough. Can't play it anymore.
What's the dog doing? Just running around pissing up trees or something?
Well, that was kind of the reason why I wanted to play it, because I heard about this game that you've got a dog as a sidekick. I was like, amazing. But yeah, no, there was no Cammy.
Just play Shadow Dancer.
Oh, exactly, Shadow Dancer.
That's all you need. Yeah,
with a dog in it, completely hands down.
What's the shooter with the dog? Dead to Rights. You can actually you can train your dog to attack people's nuts. It's great. In fact, you actually get you get an actual achievement for letting your dog bite somebody's nuts off.
That's worth quite a few quid now. That game, right? About 15, 20 quid, I think.
Got it for pennies years ago.
Ah, there you go. Sean at Retro Games Revived, you may have heard of him. He says any game that makes my arse hit the ceiling is a horror game. It makes me want to position he's playing in the game in the first place. Because if I did it first, is he playing the game on his head, upside down? Really, I don't know.
Downward dog. That's what he's doing.
Addy Sneaker Freak says, please ask Eddie about his horror-themed basement.
Oh, mate, I had to go down there the other day. It was shit myself.
You should see mine. It's awful. It's like a dungeon.
Code and Veronica, one of my favourite Resident Evil games, says Joe Gaming Girly. Cooper's World, I never got on with Soul Reaver, the PC version. Rob's also found us a copy of...
Can someone kick Cooper out and block him now? Because I won't have that.
He can update his DirectX, is that what it is?
Steve was scared of Bowser's Fury, though, wasn't he?
Scary old Bowser.
Yeah, the kids having drag queens.
He's got in his gaming room, they just probably intimidate him.
Do you think horror games are more scary if you don't actually have weapons? When we're talking about weapons, limited ammo, things like that, the ones where you actually have nothing, like Project Zero, where you have a camera, or the start of Silent Hill, where you're just running around and they're attacking you, have no idea what's going on. You're your instinct is run, but you have to let them kind of take you out. Games like that, do you think they're actually more scary than the ones where you do have ammo, because it gives you a feel that you have kind of a chance in the game?
It adds tension to the fear as well, doesn't it? Which is another.
Yeah, Joe brought it up, and I was like, I think that having no weapons just stresses you out when you just got to run past stuff.
Yeah. Silent Hill, is it Shattered Memories on the Wii? He's incredibly tense for that reason, because you just don't have anything, and all you can do is run and hide under tables and stuff. It's genuinely, it's one of my favorite. In fact, it probably is my favorite Wii game. It's incredible, but I'm a huge Silent Hill fan anyway. Hence the TV playing in the background. I thought I'd put that on especially.
Oh yeah.
I've got Silent Hill and Castlevania today, so it's I thought I'd go on theme.
Yeah, Silent Hill behind you, Castlevania to your left-hand shoulder at the top of the little television. Currently obscured by the tNb logo.
Yeah.
Going back to that point Mark was making, you might get more kids scared of playing the old Silent Hill games.
And rightly so.
Yeah.
They just think shit. In fact, my wife requested that I put in a story, actually. I think it might be Silent Hill 4 that I was playing. It was before we'd even moved in together, before we were married and everything. And I used to sit all night playing games. And when I was playing through Silent Hill 4 at the time, I ended up ringing her up in the middle of the night, probably about 3 o'clock in the morning, while she was asleep in bed. I just needed to hear a friendly voice. Because that game did awful things to me. It's not my favourite Silent Hill game, but there was 2 bits which really, I can't remember what that bit was, but I know it really messed me up to the point where I had to just hear a friendly voice and be reassured that everything was okay. But there's another bit in the game.
Next time, call the speaking clock or something like that.
No, because that's really good. The time sponsored by Accurist at the third stroke will be 11:40 and 25 seconds. Beep, beep, beep.
Builds up
And then if it
tension,
doesn't say that the next time, I can't see how that would be reassuring.
But there's
cost
another
you money
bit.
as well.
There's another bit in that game. One of the just standard enemies that you fight. The only way I can describe it is it's like the torso and arms of a gorilla with no legs. It walks on its hands, and instead of a face, it's got like two porcelain doll faces side by side. And when it sees you, instead of just attacking you straight away, it stops what it's doing and just goes like that and points at you, like just for a bit, just for a couple of seconds, and then attacks you. And the first time I come up against one of those, I just switched the game off.
I'll work with somebody who looks like that.
Sounds a bit like E.T. from.
Oh, it's just awful. It's the first time you see it, it just stops and points at you. It doesn't make a noise, anything. It's just so unnerving. And I just ended up just switching off my PlayStation. Switching the telly off, going to sleep. I was done with that for the day.
You went to sleep straight after.
Well,
the last game I had to do that on, PT demo. Has anyone actually played that?
I have, yeah, and I'm kicking myself because I deleted it off my PlayStation to make space, and now I can't re-download it.
Oh my goodness! Again, I think as well, like what we were saying earlier about like technologies and like first-time experiences. I think all of that was like it was just that brilliant like melting pot of like going down hallways and you're like looking at photos and you're like, oh, what's going on here? And it's like, but like it was because it was so hyper realistic at the time. You'd never seen graphics like it at that point, or at least I hadn't anyway. And then when you went into the bloody bathroom and then everything flipping changes and it's like, oh my god, I had to stop it right there and then. Just shit myself up. I've not actually gone back and completed it, even though it's a bloody demo.
It's PT. It was like it was called PT. It was a demo of like the Silent Hill game that never actually came out with Norman Reedus in it. It was really scary.
But to go back to the limitations, that's what what Rob was saying with the door opening on Resident Evil. They did it to hide loading screens. The fog was brought into Silent Hill to hide the fact that there wasn't this big world that you couldn't see. And that's probably one of the most memorable things about Silent Hill, the fog, isn't it? Yeah. In the HD remakes and the Xbox version, because there were better graphics, the fog wasn't as foggy, if that makes sense. I'm not going to start singing the Geordie talking about fog on the time. But they didn't look as good as the PlayStation 2 one because it was lower res, that fog, and it added such tension of what's just in front of us because I can't see, like walking through a door in Resident Evil. So the limitations did help them games in a way.
I believe the correct term for less foggy is actually less dense.
Less dense, sorry.
Yeah,
I'm a bad speaker. Right.
Plenty dense. Yeah, don't worry about that.
Rob's got the Silent Hill HD collection on the 360.
Haven't played it yet, but I've got it.
Everyone slags it off, but I really liked it. I thought it was just solid versions of the two games because I think they redid some of the audio and it's ports of the PC version instead of they upscaling the PS2 versions and stuff. And people seem to think it played awfully, but no, I thought they were really good versions, especially the third one. But that's like my favorite one in the series anyway.
I forget which one of them was supposed to be broken. So,
well, I played through both and they were fine.
I think again that's something like that. People say something and then you get it in your head. Oh, it's going to be crap.
Yeah.
Because what they did, what was it? The people they redid the voices, didn't they, or something? And I think that pissed a lot of people off. So then it just then snowballed into everyone thinking it's a crap game.
You also get the people who are most outspoken are the people with bad opinions of things as well. The people who like things just tend to enjoy it. The ones who are outraged make all the noise on the internet. So
it's an outrage.
I think this is a good point, which Joe makes here. But atmosphere and music in these sort of games really add to the overall feel and suspense and terror and fear and all those nasty, horrible words that associate with games like this.
You also brought up a great game as well, which absolutely hits the nail on the head with that as well, and that is Outlast as well.
That's Ross, wasn't it?
Yeah. She mentioned it. So Ross mentioned it as well. But yeah, Outlast is great. I love it.
That was another one where.
Sorry, Pete.
Sorry, I keep doing that to you. You go ahead.
No,
you're the guest. One.
Yeah.
Go.
Just for Silent Hill as well, the radio, the crackling that was constantly there as well. That added so much to that game.
Yeah.
The music on Silent Hill as well.
When the crackle came on, you know that you had to like run and hide. Bloody people ringing me.
The music on Silent Hill as well by Akira Yamaoka. The score, absolutely incredible.
Oh yeah.
Especially like, I don't know if anyone's seen the film, but I thought it was toilet. But when I was in the cinema watching it, that opening bit of the original theme plays just for a few seconds, and just for that few seconds, I was like, "It's going to be okay. This film's going to be good." It wasn't.
Was it horrific, Pete?
It was. It was horror, but not. It horrified me, but not in the way it wanted to. But again, a lot of people like it, so fair play to them.
Well, talking about themes and stuff like that make things like extra scary and stuff like that. I remember on the Amiga there was a game called Weird Dreams. So instantly, it's kind of like a bit creepy and everything like that. But the fact it had like a children's like nursery theme in the background absolutely just heightened everything to make it even more scary. I mean, the game, you went through like a hall of mirrors to start off with, and you just like changed your image, and then you went into like a candy floss machine, and it would like come around and make you all sticky, and then this giant bee would come and like attack you, and it used to scare the shit out of me.
I remember seeing that when it was in the magazines, and my immediate thought was it looked like a Salvador Dali painting, because you had that weird that art, that his style to it, with the dripping clock and things he did, and that things like that just really strange, and they do freak me out a little bit. I must be honest with you. I never played that game though.
Oh, it's really good. It was also on Motormouth, I think. You could play it. Like,
yes, I thought that. Was it on the TV when them Saturday morning programs?
It was a
horror game. Horror on TV back in the day.
When you were saying about kind of nursery rhyme, sorry, Pete. You go.
No. Go for it. I keep interrupting everybody, so you just go.
I was going to say, with nursery rhymes, all those kind of little music boxes things, they really kind of creep you out in horror films. When you talk about music, it's normally like things that get you the footsteps, the kind of drips, a little music box or something like that playing, just like a little nursery rhyme or something like that, and then the kind of music that kind of builds to it. Those kind of little sounds in games just build that kind of suspense. It doesn't need to be kind of music played all the time, but just little sounds coming from somewhere. You're like, what the hell is that? It's usually something as simple as that. It's a little music box to do it.
Anyone ever seen the opening titles of Camberwick Green?
Pardon?
Yeah. I want about the kids' TV program. Have you seen that, where the music box starts spinning round and then stops, and then this character sort of comes out there really, really slowly. He's got that blank look on his face, and that twee music starts up. That's scary as shit.
That sounds horrifying.
Was it in colour, this TV program?
It's what?
Was it in colour, this TV program?
Yes, 1968, I think it was. And if anybody can remember ever seeing a program called Picture Box when you were at school.
I used to, like sit. It wasn't when I was at school; it was when I was a baby, I think. But I used to insist that my mum got me out of bed to watch that.
Yeah, and there was that horrible rotating box and that eerie music playing as well. Yes, yeah, that's the sort of things you just get. I'm completely off topic here, but I was sort of thinking of that.
Pete was a baby and he had like full vocabulary and everything like that.
And a beard.
Russ, before we move on, Pob is the scariest thing that ever graced children's TV. Pob.
Yeah, since COVID at least. Since COVID, a little man that comes and spits all over you. That is the scariest thing in the world.
Oh my god. It's still freaking scary.
Talking about sounds, it's not in a horror game, but has anyone played Max Payne, the original one?
Yeah.
There's a certain level where you're walking like on a tightrope type thing, and all you can hear is your dead child crying in the background. And it's really, really harrowing. It's like even when I played it quite young, and it was still quite scary. That just the sound of a crying child in the background. That was all you had in a pitch black room.
The thing though about going back to like how kids would be scared of stuff now. They say the kids are brought up now on stuff like Five Nights at Freddy's and what's the other one? Little Horror or something like that. What's it called?
Little Nightmares.
Little Nightmares. Yeah. Those types of things would have scared the shit out of me as a kid. And kids love them now because they can do live streams playing them and pretending to be scared and scream and stuff.
I think they would be more scared of a baby with a beard, to be honest.
I think that's answered the question why they wouldn't be scared of playing the original Resident Evil now. Then,
little cereal box zombies running around. It's just lurching around because zombies don't lurch anymore; they run. So why would lurching zombies be scary to kids?
Yeah.
Are they first person
nowadays, I
games?
don't understand our generation of zombies. Where why would you be scared of something that walks like at like half an hour? It's like people just don't realize it's about the when they all get together, you're knackered then, aren't you?
I've always said somebody who's like a trained like combatant with a handgun with a full clip could take out like 15 zombies without even reloading if they're the old style zombies. I don't really understand how those things can like in Walking Dead when it's like when they've taken over a city and there's like tanks and everything. How are they going to attack somebody inside a tank when they're just shambling towards them, just cannon fodder?
I think they won't. This is the point if he starved to death in a tank.
But you're in a tank that can drive over people and have big guns. How does that get overwhelmed by zombies? There must have been a lot of zombies.
I can't drive a tank. They might not have the key in it. I don't know.
You just has everyone played what's it called? Days Gone. Actually, them zombies
I'm playing now
are actually flipping when there's
Yeah.
thousands of them running towards you. Actually, that is quite a scary moment.
That's what I was saying earlier. It's like it blurs the line between horror and just action, but it's like, you know, it's not like sort of a scary tension building jump scare thing. It's just like adrenaline, and it pushes you towards, like, you know, you have to, it's fight or flight. You have to get away. It's kind of completely different horror.
Running out of fuel in your bike.
Yeah. I was playing it earlier, and I was burning out a nest, and I could see a horde over in the distance, and I must have done something to attract them, because I turned around and they were just on me. And as you fight or flight kicks in, you have to get away.
You say running out of fuel on your bike, isn't that the same sort of thing as running out of ammunition if you were in the gun, I suppose, really, isn't it?
We're running out of boggy when it's COVID.
Before this happened, the intro to this is awesome, and that's with zombies just literally absolutely sprinting at you.
Mm. It's funny with Left 4 Dead. We used to have a manager at work called Claire, and we used to refer to her as the witch. And
she was crying.
I think she did a couple of times.
Witches are scary as hell.
Yeah. But whenever she called somebody out over the tannoy or something, and it sounded like she was angry, it was like, "You have startled the witch."
Oh my god, they were creepy as. They just start them, they just go ape shit.
I was just wondering what would happen if they made a fourth game in that series, because it'd be called Left 4 Dead 4.
Well, there's a third one coming out soon.
Called Back for Blood, is it?
Back for Blood, yeah, that looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's not for me, but it's.
Yeah, but it would be called Left 4 Dead for what?
It was. I had this trouble with the game 1 on the PS1. It's like, what are they going to do if they bring out a sequel?
1, 2.
Is it going to be called 1, 2? Is it just going to be called 2?
Can we see if we can get Jo a job in the gaming industry? Because I think she's got a fantastic idea.
We're going to start it because we're reading.
Yes.
Read it for us, to be fair.
If anybody has any problem with the long words in there, let me know.
I'm trying
Read
to
it
learn
out
how
there,
to
go.
read.
Okay, I would love to make a horror game, not me personally, Joe. It would be so scary, eerie, mess with you, and eerie music, and not much ammo, clever puzzles, decent difficulty, scary environments, and much more. It would be a nightmare. Sounds bloody good, that, doesn't it?
It'd be a nightmare to play.
I'd go the opposite way. I've said it before, but I'd bring out like a proper, like, just pre-rendered still background, cereal box zombies. You know, really like low res character models and stuff like that. Really piss poor acting. You know, like, don't open that door kind of thing from the original Resident Evil. That's the kind of horror game I would bring out. Is just a callback to 1995.
Well,
almost a Jill sandwich.
There is a game called Back in 1995 that is exactly what you just said.
Well, then I'm going to get it.
You can make Barry Burton the game.
Barry Burton's my faivorite video game character of all time. I could probably quote every line of his from the original Resident Evil. It's him and Robert Kendo from the second one. I can just quote their lines.
Robert Kendo? Is he named after martial arts?
No, he owns a gun shop.
Yeah.
Who are you? What are you doing here? Brilliant.
Back back in
Well,
1995. It is called.
Eddie's showing us some stuff here.
It only got 2 out of 10, so don't expect anything good. But
2 out of 10. Dear.
But again, that could be because people are expecting modern graphics, and it's like
People
this
don't
is
get
like
it.
it's an old game, and no one's used to that kind of stuff anymore.
Well, those pre-rendered backgrounds with the camera angle where you couldn't see everything added a lot to it as well, didn't it? Because you couldn't tell if there was a zombie on the next screen or not.
Well, you couldn't just
Fucking
automatically run away either, because you had to like turn around like this, and then you'd have to go forward. But then sometimes you'd go backwards instead, and like back up into the zombie.
You know, one thing actually, when I used to play these as a kid, I had developed a coping mechanic where I'd find something hilarious about the game and just fixate on that. Like on Resident Evil, there were certain times zombies would go, instead of doing like normal moaning and stuff, every so often one of them would just go blur like that, like a vampire from Simpsons. And I'd just listen out for that, and I'd just laugh. I thought it was hilarious every time. But it was the same on Silent Hill. The first Silent Hill, it was probably one of the few games that, if it was such a thing, I could probably play it on a competitive level back when I was a kid. But I'd unlocked the Hyper Blaster, which was like an unlimited ammo laser gun. It was modelled on the Konami light gun, that you could buy for the PS1. And I used to just literally just run around singing to myself that "A Hunting We Will Go" song in my head, and it just kind of like it made it so the game wasn't scary anymore. It was just hilarious.
But your actions then became scary by humming.
It was I Am Legend again, wasn't it? I became the boogeyman.
Yeah.
That's I Am Legend, the book, not the film.
Of course, it was.
Again, talking back to Silent Hill, they did so many things right, really, didn't they? Because the other thing that people haven't touched upon is when it changes, when the environment's changed into like just the shit coming down the walls and everything like that. That used to freak. That change was the scary bit for me, even more so than the fog.
Again, you should play the medium. Eddie, you've got Game Pass, haven't you, Eddie? You should play the medium.
I keep meaning to play it, but I know. I believe that's the same in it. You kind of go through 2 different.
It's just an absolute love letter to Silent Hill. It really is. It's currently my game of the year, but it's not got much competition, to be honest.
Yeah, I need to
Silent Hill.
Xbox down and put it on the TV.
I've got that. So it should be behind me, but I can't see it.
Homecoming, unfortunately, is the worst one by far.
I just speaking of horror games, I did pick one up yesterday, just out of interest.
Ooh.
I'm trying to contribute something. Yeah. Look, it's got rating 7A7+. It's about my limit, that is.
How much was it there? It looked like a lot of zeros on the side. Ooh,
99 pence.
Penny less than normal.
Thing is, I know Mark's going to go order that now.
It's on the PlayStation. I am.
I've never seen that one before, so I just picked it up as I was out there.
I've got a question, for the panel.
Oh, go on, hang on. I'll give you full screen. Go on.
What do you think? Do you think horror games are better in first person or third person? Because I see a lot of modern games are going more first person over third person. So what do you think? Like back in the day, I don't think I'd know any first person horrors from like PlayStation style. I might be wrong, but I'd just like to know what people think, really.
I think third person. But I would tend to go third person for everything.
Yeah, third person for me.
I think, me as well.
Yeah, third person. Totally. Again, like we said, Pete, everything I prefer third person. But saying that, Resident Evil, is it 6? 7?
7 and 8.
7.
Yeah, 7. I keep getting mixed up with the later ones, which ones they are. I actually really enjoyed it, even though it was first person.
Yeah, it is.
It was like the running away from like that character at the start. Like
it does build up. It builds up like the horror of it when you can only see through your own eyes and you can't see what's around you. And if you're running away, then obviously you can't keep tabs on what the enemy's doing. But I don't know. I like to be able to see my character. Yeah. I like to just appreciate the graphics and stuff. And obviously brought up on stuff like Resident Evil and Silent Hill and stuff. It's what I'm used to.
Oh, I prefer
the expressions of like your character to see how they're feeling and stuff like that. Because you already have an idea, but you kind of want to see exactly what they're seeing.
But if you went first person, you'd be actually sort of more in the situation technically, wouldn't you, as well?
That's what I was getting at. And like for modern
And I think-
like
I
gamers,
think that'd be more scary, to be honest with you.
What Ross is saying there, the UK demo did have the Grey Children. They were just taken out of the full game of the UK version for the kind of teethy things with the knives. I had the US version of Silent Hill with the Grey Children still intact, and I was kind of, when I finally played the PAL one, I thought it was really weird that they weren't there.
You got the demo with Metal Gear Solid, didn't you, for Silent Hill, the original Silent Hill? Yeah.
Well, back then I wasn't buying actual retail games. I was buying my games on CDRs from a dodgy guy who come around every Friday night. But
he didn't do the add-on disc. He just did the main disc. Didn't he? The bonus ones. No, I ain't doing them.
But the demo was on one of the PlayStation magazines as well.
Anyone heard of Kudelka?
I've heard of it. I've never played it.
No.
It's one that I would like to get.
It's set in Wales.
Scary enough.
I mean, you can't get any scarier than that, can you? Really?
That would be a WRPG, though, wouldn't it? I've never heard of that one.
I've got it on my PlayStation Classic here, but I've not got around to starting it.
Yeah,
Ross proposed.
The other games on the PlayStation 2. What was it? I can't remember.
What's that?
There's another trilogy of horror games. I can't remember what they're called now. But yeah, it's made by SNK.
I don't know.
The
No, I
people
don't
that
know.
do all like the art of fighting and stuff like that. And fighting Neo Geos.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. No, nothing springs to mind.
With the first person, has anyone played VR? Because I know a couple of people have played the VR Resident Evil who said it's really scary.
I couldn't do that to myself.
You did the demo,
No.
and you sit on a chair, and then this girl puts her hands around your eyes, and then
That sounds all right. I'm in that win so far.
Oh my god, it's the scariest thing I've ever done, and I was like, "There's no way I can play the whole game like this. Impossible." I was scared sitting on a chair. Do you know what I mean?
Let's say, I would not be sat on a chair. I'd be sat on a toilet.
That's it.
The last time I sat in a chair and a girl put her hands over my eyes, I was scared of two things: one, catching something, and two, how much it was costing me. Anyway, Ross prefers the oldest third person. Bro Seb thinks first person is better. Joe likes both. Eddie only does 3 people.
Is that the third person?
We're learning some stuff about you tonight, mate. Your horrid basement, your trips to the gym. It's like we didn't even know who the real Eddie is anymore. And now he does 3 people.
I tell you what, the scariest thing that you could ever do: get Resident Evil on, go down in my basement and put the VR on, and see how long you last. That's no one's going to get past like anything, honestly.
There's a challenge. You should get you challenge somebody to do that. Honestly,
If it's anything like my cellar, it's just awful. I'd never go down there. We actually changed our. We got a smart meter put in for the electricity meter, so we don't have to actually go down to the cellar to take the
I got the smart meter fitted so I could do that, but for some reason, something down there doesn't allow it to work, so I have to actually go down and still check it.
The Wi-Fi ghosts.
Something down there doesn't allow it to work.
The problem is, it's got like tables and stuff like that, so it's like it looks like
There's a Generation Z horror film there. There's a ghost that's stealing the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Actually, that would like the modern era of people, kids nowadays.
Yeah.
Like the worst thing you could do is steal their Wi-Fi. Chop their arms off, anything like that, that'll be fine. But like Wi-Fi, God, no, not a chance.
Just think of it like a cartoon version of Trapdoor already, or a claymation version of Trapdoor. Then you can go down there and not worry about it.
Mate, sometimes I've seen things come up them stairs like that. From plasticine men coming up.
plasticine men. My God, where do you live?
It's Runcorn. I completely agree.
Runcorn. I'm not going to
believe it.
Runcorn.
Say.
There's one of them, Will Mellor.
It's only down the road, yeah.
I think we might have found out what's going on. Eddie is Dylan running on a treadmill in the basement generates electricity. Poor Dylan is whipped if he doesn't run. What he's forgot to mention there is that Eddie makes Dylan dress as a giant hamster to do so.
I was going to say dressed as tails.
Yeah, it's got some whiskers. Got these whiskers in his teeth.
Those tails are not held on by a belt, I'll tell you now.
That's actually really cruel because doesn't a treadmill need power?
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Maybe
He's going to run twice as fast to power the treadmill to power the rest of everything else.
It's like a hamster wheel, it provides the power.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's an interesting one here from Sean. Resident Evil 10, the smart meter conspiracy. Right, just to sort of round up this sort of horror theme. Could everybody?
No, fanboy moment before we go.
Yes, okay. I've still got 20 minutes to do, but I was going to ask you another question. But there we go.
And
Is that?
do you know what? Fanboy of the franchise alone. Actually, this is a really good game.
I'll
really
just
good
ask
game.
you that.
Carpentry?
Sorry.
Is it about carpentry?
Yes, it is. And if you don't saw in a straight line, it's game over.
Still not as scary as Pub.
Actually, that is Bob.
Really out of this. No, this is actually a really solid game. Actually, I had a lot of fun playing this, and not just because it's sore. The puzzles and the traps in it, which you have to solve and get out, are really, really good. And the good thing about it is when you fail the puzzle, you get to see it in all its glory. And I must admit, I made sure I failed everyone once straight away, so I could actually get to see it in action. Yeah. But no, it's actually a really good game. There was a sequel which I haven't played, and the reason why I haven't played it because apparently this is not good. They ruined yeah. The first one is supposed to be very good, if you ask me. But the second one I've been put off by a lot because I enjoyed the first one so much. And this one, it's not meant to be very good. I believe it has got 2 potential endings, and it's come a little bit of a collectible upon as well along the way, which I hate. Horror games shouldn't have collectibles in it. Yeah. But no, the first one is brilliant.
I can see
it's an easy 1000G as well, isn't it?
The first one is, I've done the first one.
Yeah, I can see why it doesn't look very good because he doesn't appear to be having a particularly good time, does he?
What if they're like collectible skulls?
I think it's tapes and billy dolls that you have to collect, ironically.
This is interesting. When Joe mentioned there's a Walking Dead arcade cab. Has anybody know of it or played it? Or
I've not, no, but I remember once when I was sort of probably about 20, 25, something like that, I come across the Silent Hill arcade machine in Scarborough in one of the upstairs arcades, and I was so happy to find that. If anyone's played Silent Hill the arcade, it is. I mean, it's just a light gun shooter, but it's just like, it was like Mecca for me when I finally found it. It was absolutely amazing. I loved it so much.
I didn't even know it was one of those. So.
No, you don't see it often, but it is. I mean, obviously you don't see it often. I've not been to many arcades. We don't have many where I live, and it was only when I go to the coast. But I've seen this machine once, and I'd heard about it, and I had to play it. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of the franchise. But keep your eye out for Silent Hill the arcade, because I mean it's just a light gun shooter, and it might just be because I'm wearing it like rose tinted glasses because I love Silent Hill. But playing that was honestly. Sorry?
Just saying, it is quite an uncommon cabinet.
Yeah, playing that was like a sort of bucket list game, and I'm so glad to have actually been able to play it.
Well, I know there's an arcade in America that's got one, and people stole the guns from it, and they can't get replacement guns for it.
Oh my god!
Because it's that uncommon now.
And there's also a Resident Evil Code Veronica cab as well.
Oh, is it?
Wow, lots of stuff I didn't know here. Joe seems to be a real expert on this. But yeah,
she dresses really up as Jill, doesn't she? She did a video where she was dressed up as Jill. She's your Resi.
Yeah.
That was brilliant. I loved it.
Yeah, it was good.
Because everything's on the table as well that you pick up in Resident Evil games. I don't know if everybody picked up on that. I hope.
I noticed that as well. Yeah,
I did see that.
Yeah.
So back in the day, I was sort of in like the starting levels of building up a Barry Burton cosplay back when I was a little bit trimmer, but never actually got around to it. I don't know what I'd have done with it because I would have never worn it out of the house. But, it's something I was going to do.
Go down the basement.
Yeah, it was before I lived here. Actually, it's kind of.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, there we go. Just Resident Evil 2 Platinum version.
Shock.
Which one was Barry in on his own? Well, not on his own, but he was a main character.
Revelations?
No, well, I think could you play him in Revelations 2? I don't know, but he had a Game Boy game, Resident Evil Gaiden.
Yes.
Where he was the main character.
God, do you know what? Resident Evil Revelations were actually decent games.
They really were.
Enough love they don't. Actually start off on a ship, and it's actually quite a good setting, really, I think.
Well, it's funny how you said that earlier about playing Deadly Silence and being actually scared on a tiny little screen, because Revelations was scary on the 3DS. And back to Silent Hill again, Silent Hill Origins on the PSP. I played that in broad daylight on a bus, surrounded by people, and I still at times jumped and made a little whimpering noise.
Little whimpering noise on the bus.
Yeah.
I mentioned this. Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
No, I interrupted you there.
I was just going to say, I was just so I'd be sat there playing it with my headphones on, surrounded by people, and every so often I just kind of go, whoo! Like that.
So I was going to ask, I mentioned this to Russ the other day. So I got Silent Hill on the PSP. You could download it on the PSP. And I played that a couple of 100 meters underwater, with all the pressure hull and the cracking, the coming in, and you just hear creaks from the pressure hull. That's the only, that's the scariest time in my life playing Silent Hill in the pitch black, with all the creaking of the pressure.
We should mention that Mark cleans submarines for a living, just in case anybody wonders what he's doing that far down. But yeah, so I'm going to sort of round this up with two questions to each and everybody on the panel, and I'll go right into it. First question is Resident Evil 6. Sure. Yes or no? So I'll go Pete first. Pete.
Leon campaign, yes. Ada campaign, yes. The rest of it, no.
Nath.
Never played it. I stopped at Code Veronica.
Rob.
Not played it.
He's got it. He's got it.
Stop making me get games.
He's doing great. You are like the Rosemary 4 to my Bruce Forsyth tonight. This is brilliant. Thank you very much for doing that.
That's all right. I've got to make use of some space on the screen.
Mark.
I saved the Leon campaign for last because you can choose the order you did, and I'm glad I did because it made us fight through the other ones. Because I think I would have given up on the other ones if I'd done them last. But overall, I think it's terrible.
And Eddie.
I can't say it's a terrible game. It's just very strange. It's 4 different games in one. It's sort of like a multi-pack of games, isn't it, really? And I did Leon first, and I was like, oh, this is a great...
In the game.
Fresh air, because I pre-ordered it as well. First day I played it without knowing what was going on, and I was like, oh, this is just going back to proper Resident Evil. Next level, campaign, you're fighting a big monster in the bloody middle of a town square, aren't you?
But the problem is with the action bits, they give you enough ammo for a survival horror game, and that's what made the action bits really bad, because you didn't have enough ammo for them. If they'd made them like a full-out action game with loads of ammo, I could have got away with it. But the fact that they give you survival ammo, survival horror ammo amounts, just ruined it.
The reason I asked that question, in case anybody's wondering why, is because I always hear that this is widely regarded as a terrible Resident Evil game. I've always been interested to find out why so. And obviously, we've got 50% of people here tonight who've played it, and 50% of us haven't played it. Sean hasn't played it either. Joe seems to think it's not too bad, but it's not the best in an action game with horror elements. I
was hoping you'd highlight that one.
Ross got to the park and spent too long on the slide. So,
how bad a game is it if you just go to the park and go on the slide?
That sounds quite fun. I'd be quite happy with that.
Like the
village. More like Dana to Larry Grayson. Who's Dana? Or was he Dana? Well, I think he's talking about Dainster, is he?
I have no idea.
Dainster looks nothing like Isla Sinclair. Right, there's a joke for the ages. And also, the other question I would ask every one of you is your favourite horror game. And we'll go in the same order. So, Pete, if you'd like to go first, please.
Silent Hill. The original. Just one of my favourite games of all time. Original and best, I think. again, I played it so much. I played it, like I said earlier, if it was possible at the time, I would have been able to play it at a competitive level. I'd played it through every difficulty. I had a save point before every single ending of the game. I unlocked everything, I unlocked the laser gun and all that kind of thing. And I think I had a save point before every single boss in the game as well. Just an absolutely incredible game. I absolutely loved it.
I was going to ask Nathan, he's disappeared.
It's a horror from earlier, but the Wi-Fi getting stolen, isn't it?
Yeah, I told him. I said before we started, before we came on here, I said, "You're going to be on your Wi-Fi tonight." I said, "Yeah, I've had it all done. I've got talk now. It's brilliant." Yeah, there we go. Eddie, your favourite?
Well, it's going to be boring if I say Silent Hill, so I'm going to change it up a little bit and say my favourite modern horror game, and it's Evil Within. I absolutely love them two games. They run on from one to another, so you need to play them in order. You can't just skip it to two. First one's a bit choppy, not great like frame rates or anything like that, and it's a bit hard to play because of it. However, absolutely love it. It's like proper horror. It's what you expect the modern horror genre to have like evolved to, and it really is. And I absolutely love it. There's like genuine scary moments because of limited ammo and stuff like that, and actually, I found it quite hard to play. I had to put it down to easy just so I could enjoy the story because I think it's quite good because it's very psychological as well.
I never actually got through it because I didn't conserve my ammo enough. You mentioned earlier about having loads of ammo. I got to the last boss on the Evil Within 1. It was the 2 pyramid head things from Silent Hill. And I physically did not have enough ammo to kill them, and there's not enough ammo around to pick up to kill them. And I would like every single bullet in every gun I carried at the time, I could get a headshot with on these enemies, and not even be able to kill one of them. And I just thought that was kind of a broken part of the game.
Why I had to put it down to easy because the story and everything like that, brilliant. I think it's perfect.
I was really enjoying it to that point, but I just thought that game, that kind of aspect of the game was so broken, it kind of put me off, and that was the reason why I never played the second one.
The second one sorts all that out. However, you need to finish the first one to not ruin the second one, if that makes sense.
I think I did YouTube the ending because I was that close.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
Yeah. It was literally the last boss I was stuck on.
He's back.
No, he's back.
These bloody northern internet companies.
Well, they've got a long way to go to your part of the world. There's a lot of cable involved.
They have.
But by the time they get to your bit, Matt, they're using beats of straw and twigs and just trying to connect it all up as best possible. Paper clips.
A farmer probably dug up the cable and thought, "What the hell is this?
Yeah. What is this witchcraft?
This is a strange looking root. Why is it made out of metal?"
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
I bet you're glad you came back now, aren't you?
Always.
So it's your go, mate. Your favourite horror game.
Oh, missed the question completely.
Did you? Sorry. I'm asking everybody in turn what their favourite horror game is. Pete's gone for Silent Hill 1 on PlayStation 1.
I haven't played horror games for quite some time, but the last one I played and really, really enjoyed was Code Veronica. It's probably a close between that and Resident Evil 2. Silent Hill I could never get into. I just found it too eerie and creepy. But there was just something about the Resident Evil games that I just really liked. So, yeah, I'm going to go Veronica on that one.
I think that's the last true Resident Evil game as well, isn't it?
For me, it is. For me, I mean, Resident Evil 5, everyone raved about that, but it was just too different, like, for me. And yeah, I'm kind of sad that went to PlayStation 2 because that kind of was the end of the Dreamcast. I kind of saw that as that's the final kind of nail in it when PlayStation 2 are buying up all the Dreamcast kind of games. But
that's the true Resident Evil 3, isn't it, Code Veronica? Because actually 3 is supposed to be a bit of a midpoint. It's not really. It's supposed to be like a DLC almost.
What happened is Sony had the rights to the third Resident Evil game. So because Veronica came out on the Dreamcast first, so Sony was saying, well, we've got the third one, so you can't call that Resident Evil 3. You're going to just have to call it Veronica. So that's why we got Resident Evil 3 on the PlayStation 1, which is just a what would be a DLC probably now for Resident Evil 2, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's the reasoning behind it.
One bit on Veronica that really annoyed the piss out of me was this later in the game you have this credit card or pass or something like in a glass ball. Why they would forge it into a glass ball, I don't know. And the only way to get it is you had to put it down under this block that would just fall from the ceiling. And you had to line it up just right to put it there for the block to fall on it. Otherwise, the block would just fall on you and crush you and game over. And I spent far too long trying to get that to work. But other than that, the mechanics of opening up the briefcase by the latches, looking for the little clues. I think you had a bit where you had to pull the wings off a dragonfly to turn it into a key. Just things like that. The little puzzles in that game I just thought were really, really good. And yeah, I kind of miss that Resident Evil isn't like that anymore as a franchise. But yeah, that's my pick.
Okay. Quick hello to Martin, just called in. Saying everybody. I'll get through everybody's favourite games in the chat who've been posting. If you are there, if you want to add your favourite game in, I'll just highlight it before we finish off. Rob, your choice?
Well, it's hard without picking one of the stock answers that you could get. I mean, what is really scary is a pile of games next to me I've now got to put away. The first Resident Evil of mine has always been a really big favourite of mine. Obviously, I brought out Saw earlier. But can I adapt the question just a little bit and perhaps give you what I think is the best horror game on the Kinect?
Seeing as I know you, go on. Yes.
A lot of fun.
Oh,
And I really enjoyed playing this. Really enjoyed playing this. And I'll tell you what, it's got an absolute cracking storyline to it as well. The ending, loved it. Blew my mind away. This bit where you're walking through the corridor at the end. And of course, one of the... You know what, it's got... I don't want to ruin the story, actually, in case anyone can play it or will play it. But it's got an element in it which is always very scary. And that is... you notice in horror films and horror games that babies are always scary, aren't they? When they're used in horror, and there's something to do with babies in this as well, which is very key to the storyline. And it really it actually kind of blew my mind, the ending of this. But I actually had a lot of fun with it, hacking zombies in my living room.
Rob, how can you say it's the best horror game on the Kinect when it's the only horror game on the Kinect?
Hang on a minute, we had Mel B earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mel B and a black bean. That is pretty scary. But,
I didn't even think if there was another horror game. I think you're actually right, but
I don't know about you guys, but I find physical exercise terrifying.
I tell you something, that game is £1, isn't it? I've never seen it any more expensive than £1. I mean,
it's not expensive at all. So
it's dirt cheap to pick up
for the price. Yeah, even if you don't end up enjoying it.
Yeah, definitely worth it. Mark, to finish us off, mate, your favourite.
We've talked about Resident Evil and Silent Hill quite a lot. Silent Hill 2 would probably be my favourite, but just to mention a game that we've not played, we've not mentioned, one that I love horror-wise, The Suffering on the PlayStation 2. I think it's an absolutely fantastic horror game. There's quite a bit of action in it, but there's loads of little hidden things in there. So you're in a prison, and all the bosses are different, executions in prison, that you can pick up on and stuff like that. And like Silent Hill 2, it's psychological. It's did I actually kill my wife and child? It messes with your head, going into the past, then coming back to the future. And it's one that I think everyone should play for horror. So I just want to mention. I'll say that's my favorite, just so I can mention it. And Bloodborne's got a lot of horror in it as well, and I've got to mention From Software somehow.
A couple of people mentioned in the chat. Generation Pixel says Silent Hill on the PlayStation 1 to be agreed with Pete, but he also mentioned as well Until Dawn for a modern game. Joe
I want to mention that earlier as well. That is brilliant, horror, it's more like a slasher horror though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a teen horror, but also it spawned the Dark Pictures anthology games, which are the third one's due out in a couple of months, and they are really good games, and they're really budget games as well. They only cost about £25 each. Absolutely great games. Love. I love Man of Medan. I've still not actually played the second one, Little Hope, because I'm not allowed to play it in the living room because my wife didn't like the first one. But if you liked Until Dawn, play Man of Medan, and then follow on the series as Little Hope. And I cannot remember what the third one's going to be called, but that'll be out in a few months.
The Songs of Sorrow or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, I love them.
You get a nice little trilogy set as well now when that comes.
Yeah,
out.
you can, yeah.
That looks quite good.
Hayden Panettiere looks gorgeous in it as well, even though she's digitized, doesn't she?
I thought the same, yeah. In Until Dawn, yeah. That's all we played it for. There was a little bath scene out anyway. Like we don't need to talk about that, do we?
Until Dawn as well. It was like the big kind of. I don't know if it was a debut, but it was like the first big thing I ever saw Rami Malek in, and now he's like Oscar winner. So
yeah,
who's that?
Yeah, Rami Malek. He was Freddie Mercury in the Queen film. He's going to be the next Bond villain.
Okay.
He played like the guy who set everything up in Until Dawn without spoiling too much.
I know the actor. I mentioned the Eddie Freddie Mercury in that film. Yeah, Joe says Resident Evil 1. Sean was on about Isla St. Clair. not Dana. It was Isla St. Clair, so we can get that image out.
To be honest with you,
I thought Sean would have said COD Zombies.
Yeah, that would have been quite good. That one.
Oh, wrong.
Wrong, Sean, mate. What else we got down here? Nobody's mentioned Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templars. That goat puzzle is real horror. Bro said, but this is what I'm talking about. Till Dead Space.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this. Yeah.
The first one's really good. The second one's all right. The third one's dog shit.
The first one's really good. The second one is also really good, but the third one takes too long to get going and then goes on for too long. But there's a nice big chunk in the middle that you can enjoy.
I enjoy all the Dead Spaces. It's just that the first one was proper horror.
The first one was terrifying.
Kind of like stepped away each time. They're still good games.
You need to play that with a headset on, just for the the noises behind you and things like that, to get a proper real effect out of that game. You need to play it with a headset on.
No, when it actually came out at the time, I had my Xbox 360 in my bedroom, and that's how I played it. Start to finish was in pitch black with headphones on, and there's no wonder it scared me so much.
And the talking clock on speed dial.
By that point, I was married and she was right next to me, so I don't have to ring her up. Just shake her every so often.
And I know Generation Pixel likes his point and clicks, but yeah, bloody hell, I forgot what it's called. The game on the Amiga, what's it called? I can see the bloody thing. This is going to annoy me now.
Beneath the Steel Sky.
No, hang on. Right.
There was a Dracula point and click on the Atari.
No, it was like a HR Geiger styled game, and oh my goodness, that was a scary game. Dark Seed.
Never played that.
Dark Seed is 1 and 2. That is pure point and click horror. If you like horror and point and clicks, it's a must play. Also came out on the Sega Saturn as well, but only in Japan.
Oh right, I didn't know that. I know if Sean from Metro Games Revive was here tonight. I know he did want to come on and do this subject. It's a real shame that he's not made it tonight. But he probably would have mentioned the CRL games from the 8-bit days where they did Dracula, Frankenstein, I think the Wolfman as well. And those games were actually classified 15 when they came out because of the violence. Bear in mind, it was 8-bit computer graphics. But I remember seeing the magazines and they looked really, really graphic. So I know he would have wanted to mention those as well. So I'll chuck those in because Sean's not here. But he will know a bit more about those, and I'm sure he can enthuse on those at another date, or I'll ask him when he's on next time just to catch up with some of those stuff. But even going right back to those days, there were those sort of games based around the horror theme. And I think that's probably a good point to bring that one to conclusion. But a lot of good stuff there, a lot of games we mentioned, a lot of good comments in the chat as well, people suggesting their own ideas. I think as Eddie said, Dark Seed, that was one, 37 Metro, and Steve's mentioned as well, so that's been brilliant. So we'll round it up there, but I think that was quite enjoyable. I hope it's brought a few games to people's attention. You may have heard something that you've not seen before or heard about, want to go and try it. A really massive thank you to everybody in the comments tonight. Been so many comments. Great to see so many people watching as well. I think we've hit 26 tonight, which is probably one of our very best. We've only done 4 live streams before, but that I think probably is one of the best ones for us. So thank you for everybody who's tuned in tonight and spread the word that we were going live, because it was, again, a bit of a last minute decision, but we'll have to go. Anybody want to add anything before we finish off, chaps?
One thing I want to say, I was going to know, really quick. does it count as a horror game if Mortal Kombat X has Jason Voorhees, the Alien, and Leatherface in it? Because I enjoyed playing that Mortal Kombat a lot because it had those 3 characters in.
No.
No, but the style of playing game. Come on.
That's my opinion. No.
What about Darkstalkers?
Yeah,
That's a fighting game with like horror characters in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to say I can't believe we've got this far without mentioning Splatterhouse having Mark here.
Should we just do another hour?
No.
I've still got to pack my bag for going
Yeah,
to Butlins tomorrow.
Yeah.
At the moment, he's just really laying on the bed, spraying himself with Old Spice, playing the Switch naked. Like,
Yeah.
Pure horror. Pure horror.
It's a
Pure
horror,
horror.
a horror game I've got. It's a horror game I've just bought for going. Hellpoint.
Hellpoint.
It's Dark Souls meets Dead Space. That's what I've been told.
With hilarious consequences.
Mm.
It's Dark Souls. It's Dead Space. It's hilarious consequences. Yeah. And when they get together, it was murder. Anyway, right. So that's great. Thanks very much indeed for everybody who's been here tonight. Pete, thanks very much for giving us your time again tonight, my friend.
Thank you.
Eddie, pleasure as always, my friend.
Cheers for having me.
Nath, thank you very much indeed, despite your broadband problems. I'm sure that they'll work it out eventually, mate. Don't worry.
you can tick it off on your TNB like bingo sheet.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Full house. So, Rob, thank you for showing all those games tonight, and thanks for popping in when you did. It was nice to see you come along. And
That's right. I'm like a Royal
cool.
Rumble. Every time on, you never know what
Yeah.
number I am or where I'm going to turn up. But,
I'm going to have to get your channel theme handy for next time we do this, so that when we're halfway through a podcast like we did last time, like we did tonight, you turn up. I'll just press your music, and then I'll just put you on screen.
You turn up
Yeah,
in
we
Eddie's
can do
basement.
We can do the 10 countdown from 10 for him, can't we?
That's it. Yeah. But it wouldn't be surprised.
thanks for letting us slip in and join in. But yeah, I didn't even mention Gears of War as being a horror game. There we go.
We have done now, but there we go.
Got it in there. There you go. Cross that one off and all.
And a massive TNB thank you to Mark for being our special guest this evening. Mark has been I know we had a chat earlier in the week on Desert Island Recording, which we did for you, but it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, and you brought a lot to the table tonight, and I think it was a good show to have you on.
Thanks very much for being very gentle in the cherry popping steaks. I've really enjoyed it. It's been great chatting to you all, and obviously it's horror, so something I really enjoy.
Especially subject. That's really good. But yeah, it's been really good to have everybody back in tonight. And like I said, everybody in the chat who's been adding comments all the way through. It's just been absolutely fantastic. Thanks very much for the support. We will be back in 2 weeks' time, which I think is Sunday, the 12th of September. Now, it will be at 8 o'clock. I can't say whether it's going to be another live stream. I can't say whether it's going to be one of our recorded episodes. We just won't know until we work out our schedule. So we may be talking to you live in 2 weeks' time. We may be talking to you recorded in 2 weeks. But don't forget to put a date in your diary for the week where this is the program where people don't swap stuff. So just so you don't get confused with the other one. And it's much better run as well, better organised. Hello, Lee, if you're watching. I don't think you are, but if you're in the chat, pass on to you. On behalf of everybody here, including Mark as well, please do leave us a like on the video if you have enjoyed that. If people have missed the episode, they're not sure what happens tonight, point me in the direction, leave a comment on the video. All the guys' channels will be in the description below as well to go across if you're not aware of what they do. I'll add Mark and Rob a bit later on. I wanted to... didn't have Mark's because I didn't want the surprise guest to be not a surprise, as it were. But I'll add everybody else's in shortly afterwards the video goes up, and don't forget to pop and cross and have a look at their stuff as well. But from all the chaps here on the TNB and our special guest Mark this week, thank you very much indeed for watching, and we shall see you all again very, very soon. But until then, do take care, and bye for now.
Bye.
Toodle pip.
Bye.